Tonight at a party to honor her younger sister's engagement. Celebrating Arabella's good fortune only served to magnify Isadora's disgraceful state. Her corset itched. A rash had broken out between her breasts, where the whalebone busk pressed against her sternum. It took a great deal of self-control to keep her hands demurely folded in front of her as she waited in agony for some reluctant, grimly smiling gentleman to come calling for a dance. Except that they seldom came. No young man wanted to partner an ungainly, whey-faced spinster who was too shy to carry on a normal conversation, and too bored with banal social chatter to try very hard. And so she stood against the block-painted wall, garnering no more attention than her mother's japanned highboy. The sounds of laughter, conversation, and clinking glasses added a charming undertone to the music played by the 12-piece ensemble. Unnoticed, she glanced across the central foyer toward her father's business study. Escape beckoned. In the darkened study, perhaps Isadora could compose herself and, heaven preserve her, wedge a hand down into her corset for a much-needed scratch. She started toward the entranceway of the ballroom and paused beneath the carved federal walnut arch. She was almost there. She had only to slip across the foyer and down the corridor, and no one would be the wiser. No one would miss her. Isadora fixed her mind on escape, skirting a group of her brother's Harvard friends. She scurried past a knot of her father's cronies from the Somerset Club and was nearly thwarted by a gaggle of giggling debutantes. Moving into the foyer, she had to squeeze past a gilt cherub mirror and a graceful Boston fern in a pot with 4 legs. One step, then another. Invisible. She was invisible. She could fly like a bird, slither like a snake. She pictured herself lithe and graceful, fleet of foot, causing no more stir than a breeze as she disappeared into nothingness, into freedom. Deep in one of her fantasies, she forgot about her bow, which stuck out like a ducktail festooned with trailing ribbons. She heard a scraping sound and turned in time to see that a ribbon had tangled around one of the legs of the fern pot. Time seemed too slow, and she saw the whole sequence as if through a wall of water. She reached for the curling ribbon a second too late. It went taut, upending the large plant. The alabaster pot shattered against the marble floor. The abrupt movement and the explosion of sound caused everyone to freeze for precisely 3 seconds. Then all gazes turned to Isadora. The Harvard men, her mother's friends, gentlemen of commerce and ladies of society. Trapped by their stares, she stood as motionless, and as doomed, as a prisoner before a firing squad. "Oh, Dora." As usual, Isadora's elder sister Lucinda took charge. "What a catastrophe. And right in the middle of Arabella's party, too. Here, let me untangle you." A moment later, a housemaid appeared with a broom and dust shovel. A moment after that, the ensemble started playing again. The recovery took only seconds, but to Isadora it spanned an eternity as long as her spinsterhood. Within that eternity, she heard the censorious murmurs, the titters of amusement and the throat-clearings of disapproval that had dogged her entire painful adolescence. Dear heaven, she had to get away from here. But how did one escape from one's own life? "Thank you, Lucinda," she said dutifully. "How clumsy of me." Lucinda didn't deny it, but with brisk movements she brushed off Isadora and smiled up at her. "No harm done, dearest. It will take more than a dropped plant to ruin the evening. All is well." She meant it. She really did, Isadora realized without rancor. Lucinda, the eldest of the Peabody offspring, was as blonde and willowy as Botticelli's Venus. She'd married the richest mill owner in Framingham, moved to a brick-and-marble palace in the Green Hills, and every other year in the spring, like a prize brood mare, she brought forth a perfect pink-and-white baby. Isadora forced herself to return.